Look, man, pull up a chair. I've been watching you lately, and honestly, you're vibrating at a frequency that's going to break you. You're doing the fasts, you're reading the Proverbs, you're hitting the spiritual gym every single morning, but you still can't sleep at night, can you? You've got this look in your eyes, the one where you're trying to faith your way out of a physiological burnout. We need to have a talk, not a Sunday school talk, a real world talk. Because the biggest lie we've been sold in this niche is that spiritual and psychological are two different rooms. They aren't. They're the same floor plan. If you ignore the psychology of your soul, your spirituality becomes a haunting rather than a healing. The cognitive dissonance of the wilderness. Think about Elijah. You know the story. Great victory, fire from heaven, the whole cinematic experience. Then one threat from Jezebel, and what does he do? He runs. He hits the desert, curls up under a tree, and asks to die. Now, a religious person would say he lost his faith, but look at the text through a psychological lens. The man was in a depressive episode. He was physically exhausted, socially isolated, and mentally overstimulated. And notice how God handled it. He didn't give him a lecture on theology. He didn't tell him to pray harder. He gave him a snack and a nap. Twice. That's the elder brother advice right there. Sometimes the most spiritual thing you can do is fix your sleep hygiene and eat a decent meal. We try to solve neurochemical problems with spiritual platitudes. If your brain is starved of dopamine because you've turned your life into a performance of holiness, no amount of chanting is going to fix that. That's not a lack of demons, that's a lack of boundaries. The shadow work of the Pharisee. Let's talk about the persona. Jung talked about it, but Jesus nailed it first. He called people whitewashed tombs. Psychologically, that is a fragmented identity. You're building a brand or a spiritual reputation that is beautiful on the outside, but inside you're suppressing every shadow, every doubt, and every unholy urge. You think that by ignoring your shadow, it goes away. It doesn't. It just goes into the basement and starts lifting weights. When you see a spiritual leader crash and burn out of nowhere, that wasn't out of nowhere. That was a decade of refusing to integrate their humanity. They were so busy being spirit-led that they forgot to be self-aware. If you want to be a whole man, a whole woman, you have to stop being afraid of your own complexity. David didn't just write, "The Lord is my shepherd." He wrote, "My bones are wasting away because of my inner turmoil." He was doing the work. He was naming his trauma. He was acknowledging his neuroses. You can't heal what you're too spiritual to admit you feel. The neuroplasticity of renewal. There's a verse we love to quote, "Be transformed by the renewing of your mind." We treat that like a magic trick, like a software update that downloads while we sleep. But look at the Greek word there, metamorpho. It's a process. It's biological. In modern terms, that's neuroplasticity. Your brain has ruts, deep, dark canyons of "I'm not enough, I'm going to fail, God is disappointed in me." Every time you think those thoughts, you're digging that canyon deeper. You can pray, "Lord, change my mind," but if you keep walking down the same mental path of self-criticism, you're counteracting your own prayers. You are the architect of your internal landscape. If you want to renew your mind, you have to stop feeding the old neural pathways. You have to practice reframing. When Paul says, "Whatever is true, noble, right, pure, think on these things," he's giving you a cognitive behavioral therapy assignment. He's telling you to manually override your brain's negativity bias. Spirituality gives you the power to change, but psychology gives you the blueprint of how the machine actually works. Don't throw away the manual just because you have the electricity. The trap of spiritual bypassing. Listen, I know why you do it. It's easier to say the enemy is attacking me than to say I have an anxious attachment style because of how I grew up. The first one makes you a soldier in a cosmic war. The second one makes you a patient in a long, painful recovery. But spiritual bypassing, using spiritual ideas to avoid facing unresolved emotional issues, is a trap. It's a slow poison. It makes you appear enlightened, while you're actually just becoming more disconnected from reality. You want to be salt and light? Salt is a physical element. Light is a physical wave. You are a physical being. Jesus wept. He got angry. He felt sorrowful even unto death. He didn't bypass his emotions. He sat in them. He felt the weight of the human experience so that you wouldn't have to feel guilty for being human yourself. The integration. So, here's the homework. I'm not asking you to read another book. I'm asking you to do an audit. Where are you using faith as an excuse for avoidance? Where is your prayer life just a place where you ruminate on your anxieties instead of releasing them? Stop trying to be a spiritual giant and start trying to be an integrated human. God isn't looking for a polished version of you. He's looking for the real version of you. The one that's messy, the one that has triggers, the one that's still a little bit scared of the dark. Because until you bring your psychology into the light of your spirituality, you're just a ghost living in a machine. You're okay, kid. You're not failing at being a believer. You're just learning that the soul and the brain are neighbors. It's time they started talking to each other. Take a breath. Forgive yourself for being tired. And for heaven's sake, go get some sleep. I'll see you tomorrow.